It's Obama to the rescue, the nation's 44th president getting a rock star welcome as he returned to the White House to tout Obamacare. It was a welcome sight for the flailing Democrats who were in need of a distraction from the avalanche of bad news that is the Biden administration.
Vice President Biden, Vice President. That was a joke. And Joe Biden and I did a lot together. We helped save the global economy, made record investments in clean energy. We put guardrails on our financial system. We helped turn the auto industry around, repealed Don't Ask, Don't Tell. But nothing made me prouder than providing better health care and more protections to millions of people across this country.
But wake up, Democrats, you're still stuck with this guy.
My name is Joe Biden. I'm Barack Obama's vice president. Our Republican colleagues, as they say in Southern Delaware, haven't changed a whole hell of a lot. Good folks, but haven't changed a lot. They continue to attack the Affordable Care Act. If Republicans have their way, it means 100 million Americans with pre-existing conditions can once again be denied health care coverage by their insurance companies. So now, I'm going to sign an executive order, and Barack, let me remind you, it's a hot mic.
It's no wonder they're trotting out a superstar like Obama, as Biden's horrible poll numbers spell doom for the Democrats. All right, Jesse, I'll start with you. What can bail out the Democrats this year? Is a photo op good enough?
No, they need another COVID wave. It's the only thing that can help their numbers. I don't think this is going to give the Democrats the jolt they're looking for. It just reminds them that Joe Biden was nothing more than vice presidential material. This is why people don't like to take pictures with other people who are better looking than they are. I did a shoot one time for The Factor. It was a polo match in the Hamptons, and I went and I interviewed afterwards the head of the Argentinian polo squad. His name was Nacho Figueroa, and he was also the face of Ralph Lauren for about a decade. And that was a big mistake, because my face was in a profile shot right next to his face, and the camera shot was very tight. And you can really contrast the two of us physically. And I remember Dennis Miller appeared after the package ran on The Factor and said, "Put the screen back up." I remember. And he goes, "On the left, you have Nacho, and on the right, not so much." And it was hurtful, but it was true. You don't want to really put two people in a room like that when it's like being a boxer. Sometimes one guy completely outclasses the other guy, and that's what you saw here with Barack and Joe Biden. It would have been different if, you have a Bush or a Trump or a Reagan in the same room, an Obama or a Clinton. Those are two kind of Hall of Fame guys, right? But this is not it. This is someone who people that work for him don't want to work for him. And that's why you saw yesterday, or what was this, a couple hours ago, there was nostalgia. And there was a feeling that they were happy about the past, but they weren't excited about the future. And Obama looked like he was rubbing Biden's nose in it a few times. Like, you know what? I actually signed major legislation in my first 2 years. And I think at the end of the day, people went back from that event and felt like, you know what? I'm working for a Jimmy Carter. I remember what it was like when Barack Obama was there.
All right, Dana, Republicans have a 17-point advantage in terms of enthusiasm. The last time that happened was 12 years ago. The Democrats, I believe, lost 60 seats in the House. So they decide to celebrate the the Obamacare. And the truth is that the anniversary apparently was a couple of weeks ago. But Biden really has very little to celebrate.
Well, President Obama lost 63 seats in that first midterm. But I think that in a way that they just decided to embrace that and say, well, it was worth it. And the politics of healthcare have cut both ways. So in 2010, they lose 63 seats. But in 2018, the Democrats were able to get Republicans to lose in several districts because they couldn't. Republicans failed to replace Obamacare, repeal and replace. That was what they promised. They couldn't do that. And they filed that stupid lawsuit. They never let it go. And in fact, it was the one that Amy Coney Barrett she was getting attacked for. But then when it actually came to the court, she went the way that the majority went. She upheld that. So I just feel that 12 years ago, it's a fine anniversary event. It's not going to matter. I do think that President Obama, at least, like, he embraced what he had, right? And he was a much better communicator than President Biden. So healthcare, it can cut both ways. What the President Biden's issue is inflation. And they didn't talk about that at all today.
Mm-hmm. All right. What about that, Jessica? They didn't talk about inflation. And they now are saying that President Biden needs to be more visible. He needs to have more photo ops. Do you think that'll make a difference?
I think so. I think that what's going on right now with inflation is certainly a problem that cuts on both sides of the aisle. And you've seen Democrats and independents voicing very similar concern to Republicans about it. But fundamentally, Democrats and independents really like Joe Biden as a person. They've accepted his quirks, that he can go off message, that he can kind of disappear into a crowd, but that he'll remember your son's name. If your son had a stutter and he's written to President Biden about it, he's going to be there, and he might even shoot a commercial with him. And having President Obama there is incredibly important surrogate work, which everyone uses on both sides of the aisle. Donald Trump is appearing on stages all across the country in rallies with candidates that are supporting him. That's how it works. And the reason that being there for the Affordable Care Act is so important is, to Dana's point, Republicans have still yet to put up a viable alternative. And Mitch McConnell was on a Sunday show this past weekend, and he got asked, well, what is your plan if Republicans are going to be in control again? And he said, we'll wait and see. They haven't released a plan.
It's a great plan. We're just working on it.
Mm-hmm. Oh, okay.
It's going to be the best plan
Is Nacho helping out with it?
Yes.
But that might not be enough coming out of a global health pandemic to just hear wait and see on healthcare. They need to know what you're doing versus Democrats that are expanding healthcare to millions more people. And that's why Obama is there and should be there every day.
Okay,
That's
but Americans, Greg, they understand that the president is Biden.
Yeah.
And Biden isn't changing the prices at the gas pump or at the supermarket. What can Biden do?
You should try not to get lost, right? Have you seen this tape?
I love this.
This is him. It's just like, where'd everybody go? This is kind of more of a symbolic of how the presidency is going right now. You have everybody around Obama, and then you have Joe just kind of like walking off.
That is so sad.
It is. And about that 17-point enthusiasm gap, that's so wide Ted Kennedy could drive a car through it. And Joe's so underwater, you might think he's in that car. I just wanted to start with that. But you know what? Here's the thing, okay? This next election, the voters have to respond to the way that they've been treated. You have COVID inequality, right? Masks versus the unmasked, the servitude in masks. You have the marginalization of parents. You have the crime wave. But then you have these other things, like just the raging mental illness that you're seeing everywhere. You're seeing homelessness. You're seeing education, just a mess. What's interesting about all of these things is this is the left's wheelhouse. We've been told for 40 years, right, that they were the people that cared, that Republicans only cared about making money. They were country clubbers. They were white. They wore khakis. But it was the left. They were out there on the street fighting for the victims and fighting for people's rights. But it turns out wherever they go, the rights get limited and people die. It's time. This is the real red pill, right? The left always claims the higher ground on education, mental health, victims' rights, racial justice, class warfare, even with inflation. How can Americans not see that they have been wrong on every single aspect and made life worse? But I am going to be a soggy blanket on this, which Dr. Jill is all too familiar with. If it's not a blowout, if it's not 70 seats at a minimum, then the Republicans blew it, because there's no better opportunity than right now to really change the face of the political landscape. And if you don't do it now, then you're probably never going to do it. The only hope is Elon Musk.
Well, we'll talk about him later. But Dana, you had to say...
I just wanted to say one other thing. If you look at polls consistently, this is what's weird about the Democrats. They're not satisfied with Obamacare. If you look at any of the polls, they'll consistently say that what is their top issue is climate change, second issue is health care. And so they're never satisfied with it. And that's one thing that the Republicans will probably do, which is to say, we're not going to go to socialized medicine.
Okay.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.